welcome back to another Kal Academy. In this particular tutorial, we are going to go over the many reasons that you may want to upgrade into a level 4 super capital, or as any of the experienced players call it, the sperm, super sperm, uh, or the red one that I think they just call the ovary or the basketball. We have a lot of nicknames in here in Duper, and all of them are extremely appropriate. So, jumping right into it, I have a match here. We are in round 6. Now you see red by round 6 usually will have a level 3 capital as long as he hasn't heavily invested in other things. Um, utilize a few economic conferences along the way, easily for red to get level 3 by round 6. Um, as a border player, blue and purple have played it very well. They've obviously done some conferences themselves. They've been very efficient with their gold. Round 6 level 3s for both of these players is very, very good. Because typically you have 3 for a turn or 2 as red before you actually start seeing those pop up. And that's where you start to utilize the advantage of the early super capital. Transforming this building changes it from a 24 HP structure to a 21 HP or attack power, depending on how you look at it, ground unit. The ground unit has as much stamina as a tank, and it hits for 21 attack each time. So it will not lose a battle unless it hits something that's equal or greater to it. Now, of course, that's very strong, but it's also very risky. We're looking at potentially ending your game with one little misstep. So you have to be very careful with it. And jumping into this match here, you could see that I'm already debating this. I see 2 level 2s here. We've got a very early level 3. These guys, of course, I'm not going to do it to. I'm chatting it up with purple, and I'm just telling him, hey, we can do something incredibly stupid if you want. And if anybody watching this video knows me, I'm going to do something incredibly stupid. Now, I don't even ask permission at this point. I just send the AP buy over. I counted his. I know he has one. So I just want to see if he does it. Now, I'm not sure if he accepts this or if it auto times out and accepts. Either way, I get it. But he immediately said why, so I feel like he clicked accept. Now, this is an important attack here. That gem buff that popped up at the end means that orange started with both of the red gems that get randomly distributed at the beginning of the game. So now every attack that I do against him, I have to factor those 2 gems into. And that's very important when you're dealing with a super capital. So we take his economist here, easy money, but we see him drop troops into here. He had 7 gold at the beginning of this turn. So we know, we're thinking there's at least 7 there. At this point, you have to assume for self-preservation, he spent all of his gold. Now, 7 plus 16 of a level 2 capital, of course, we're looking at greater than 21. And the 2 gem that he has adds another 2 to that. So attacking here with a super capital right now is absolute suicide. We cannot do that, but we're already full committed. We're going to have to find another way around it. So we're going to do this incredibly stupid play very smartly. So we're just going to let that sit. And in the idea of fake generosity, which is really the mantra of Duper, we're going to give him his economist back for free because we're really good guys, and we kind of felt bad about what we did. We're a little bit remorseful, you know. It's round 6. Let's let him play until round 7. So now we did that because we're assuming that he spent all of his gold protecting his capital. Troops only have 1 stamina, and now they moved here. I get to go again before him. These guys are stuck, and now he's got a wide open capital. Again, this is a mystery number for me, but I know it's less than 21, but with a super capital, I always go for the sure thing. So let's jump to round 7. We know how much strength a level 3 worm has. It also gives us 1 gold per turn, and we're in a super capital, which is getting us no gold per turn. We're getting 2 from this over here because of the economist and the level 3 tile, and that is our only income. So this is kind of a 2 for 1. We know we're going to win this fight regardless. He doesn't have anything crazy up his sleeve here where he just dropped 20 dudes for no reason. It's easy win for us. Now what we're looking at here is attacking a capital. You will see there is a +1 tile bonus when you're attacking a capital. So just factor that in to when you're attacking these, as well as the gem bonus, because that does matter. So he's still level 2. His HP is going to be 16 plus 2 because of the gems he has of ours, and then probably another 1, which should put him at 19. I'm going to move my tank in just in case something crazy happens, then both of us will die. But again, our calculations, and that was odd. There was no gem buff there, but there was there. It said +0, but it did give us the +2. I think the calculator might have been a little bit off. Either way, we are now in round 7, and orange is dead. Now, usually any sane player is just going to play this out with purple and try to get him a tile victory, perhaps, because our economy's in shambles. We have a level 3 here, a soon-to-be level 3 on green, and we're probably not going to be able to keep up. And again, we're going to initiate a gem swap. We're going to get him some gems to make him happy so that he doesn't try to come kill us as well. So he agrees. They're probably going to come for me now. We thought green was going to come this way. He took a worm. I'm not really sure why. Maybe he needed a card for the play that he's about to make or try to make. But again, I can't really explain why that one happened. So he's going to pop a fort here. He had an AP saved up. He could have taken 2 tiles from me. But instead, he goes for blue. So now he's sitting at blue's doorstep. So this prompts blue, who does the other option for a super capital. So another pro of having a super capital is that you can run away at any moment. As long as you have tiles, you can escape the onslaught that's coming. We can make these forts a little bit useless by running away. So, and again, we see green pop a second fort, just essentially eliminating a retaliatory strike against him. So my initial thought is he only has 1 of my gems. He doesn't want me to win. He's probably going to try to be a bully like most super capitals do when they have no other choice. Now, before I let this play again, let's look in the bottom right. We see we have 22 gold. This is the only tile with 1 AP that he can take from me and stop me from further accomplishing my tile count victory. So as soon as he transformed, I clicked, and unfortunately you can't see in a replay, but I clicked this and I spammed all the way up to 22 with all my gold, and I hovered until he moved. And I know that the damage calculation seems a little funny here. It doesn't actually make any sense, and maybe the devs can look at how this was calculated. But of course, we dropped 23 plus 2 for our tile. We have 24. It gave us 9 on the gem buff rather than just it calculated in a very strange way. But again, we were ready for what he was going to do, and that is one of the very big dangers of this. If you're attacking somebody who's holding on to a lot of gold, if they see you coming, they could drop it. Not a good play. He played it right by getting away from this onslaught, but coming over here, unfortunately, we were ready for it. Now this played right into our hand because he reduced the tile count required to win by 1. We can't let things get back to green. Even if he doesn't come for me, he just hits this right here for free. He hits this for free, whichever one he wants. They're both free with the forts. Now, the only person that can stop that, obviously, is purple. So we just start feeding him gems. We give him, I think, 6 gems. And we say, hey, let's just get to this last round. We win the game. And that's exactly what we do. I didn't expect to win this game. I was expecting to kind of guide purple and kind of just fend these guys off. But things really played into our hand. And we just take our free tile, and we walk away with a fair amount of sparks here. So this was a good example of a few early aggressive tactics you can use with the super capital, as well as how you can use it to escape somebody who's coming for you. I mean, at the end of the day, you do just want to survive until the end of the game. Assuming you're holding a little bit of everyone's gems, you're going to minimize your losses in sparks or ETH. So not dying is very crucial because you lose your entire stake if you do so. So there's no shame in running away and just being a sort of a menace to the rest of the players in the game. It's definitely useful, and of course you're going to minimize or sometimes come out on top depending on how you play your diplomacy and the gems. And our next example will kind of show that, although I didn't play my gem game very well, but we were an absolute menace in the face of destruction. So we're going to jump over to that clip now, and we'll get right into it again. Okay, so we can see that this clip is much different than the other one. This is actually a ranked game as well, so we're dealing with ETH instead of sparks, and things were looking pretty dire here. We gave red a couple gems early. We're orange, by the way. We gave him some gems early. I asked if he wanted to be friends, and most people who play Duper respond with, absolutely, let's be friends. And really only a quarter of them actually mean it. And as you can see here, this is not what friends do. Not at all. So we see ourselves probably dying in the next couple turns, but the Supercapital mechanic can actually allow us to be a little bit of a menace in the meantime. So we're going to fast forward. I don't know if this was the turn he made his move. I don't think it was. He was building up. He has all of his tanks. He's got at least 2 tanks here because we saw them spread out. 2 forts. It's very rough. Now, I was prepared to make a very valiant defense, but I mucked it up. You're going to see me mess this up. I borrowed a fort. Actually, it was the last turn, so yeah, it was the last turn. So I borrowed a fort researcher, and then I spent all of my gold building troops, and I didn't leave 3 gold to build the fort. And I was going to attack one of these first to get one of them out of the way. And it actually would have been a pretty useful defense. I think it might have bought me some more time. But again, little mental errors like that can drastically change the game. So you see now he's made his move. A whole lot of attack power. We did pretty well. We cost him 27 troops. But in the end of things, well, actually more like 20 because his fort ate a couple of those. So now he's sitting on our doorstep. We don't have an economist. He's driving more tanks in for them to support his attack on the next turn. So things are looking pretty rough here. He also gets to go before me. So the option of staying here and waiting maybe one more turn to get one more set of gold from my capital, like 8, I would get 8 more gold just to kind of have. He'd go first, so I can't actually get that gold because there's no way he's ending his turn and I'm still alive. So I think I was weighing my options here. And then, of course, we pull the trigger on the only thing that we know we can do. And we're just going to protect ourselves at all cost here. A little bit of self-preservation. We do still have that fort. We had gold for it this time. And now we're just going to throw this guy in here. So now when we attack, not only are we a 21 attack power ground unit, but we also are in a fort. And the fort's going to take 7 damage before our Supercapital does. So we're 28, and we're also being shielded for 7, which is huge for a Supercapital, obviously. Because if you die, your game's over. So now we just want to make it hurt for red. And we absolutely do. We demolish a fort. He loses tanks and a bunch of troops. Blue compliments us as absolute Chad move, and let's be honest, it kind of was. And we live to see another day. We're not out of the game. We have some of purple's gems. We're gonna extort some out of blue. Green was pretty stingy with them. He wasn't really giving them out. He was chatting a lot, but he had his own plans, which in the end, spoiler alert, they do actually, they pay off for him. I believe that was Cryptics, so well played by Cryptics. And we'll just keep jumping to 9. So now we're on the defensive, but we are also a bully. We want to be as expensive to red as possible. I think I kind of just ruled out winning or coming out on top at this point. I just absolutely want to make this guy's life a living hell. I had a grudge, and I was acting on it. I'll just be honest with you, okay? So let's go ahead and continue this game. Got to fast forward through Red's turn, and he just wanted to be sure that he could kill whatever was here. I don't think he calculated it out, but he was being certain. So nothing wrong with being certain. So he takes the 3 back. But we now know, because we watched how many troops went there, it said 14. 10 of it was here. So 4 troops went here. So I'm looking at 7. Even if you have a factor of 5, a plus or minus 5, you're still looking at like 12. Which 28 here can easily kill. We're just racking up gold. And he did have more, actually. He had 11. So he did have more than we initially thought. But again, we have so much power, and we're not losing anything for it. It is just free power over and over and over again. You attack somebody with 21 troops, they have 18. You won, but you lost 18 troops. 18 gold down the drain. Supercapital doesn't work that way. Okay? We're not losing any power for attacking. It's just 21, 21, 21, 21. And you can be an absolute menace with it. So let's go to round 10. We're going to try to save time here because all of my videos end up being about 45 minutes, and I'm trying not to make that happen for you guys. Unless, of course, that's what you want, but try not to take your entire day out here. So red tries an assassination here on blue. He drops 21 troops here, +4 with the plane, and actually loses his defense here. Which is huge, because not only are we costing him a lot of gold here, but he just dropped what he had left and got absolutely nothing for it. So red really coming apart here in the late game despite his very aggressive, and it was a very efficient play on me, but again, you utilizing the super capital, it kind of threw a wrench in his plan. His plan was probably to kill me and then kill blue. So this play, that looked really dumb, right? We had one troop attacking a blank tile that was supported by a fort. Cool little icon here to let you know that it's supported by a fort, by the way. Actually not sure I noticed that until now, because of the tank inside of it. So we know at least 10 damage here. I only had one troop. All I wanted to know what was here, because again, if we make the wrong attack, we're dead. So I did that because I want to know what's here, and that number 10 tells us that there's only one tank inside this fort. So now we know there's 10 here. Jump up to 11. I believe this round we just save an AP, which is exactly what we do. We haven't seen anything change. One tank dropped in here, so now we're looking at 13, I believe. And let's just say he dropped 2 tanks. Let's say he won the combo, and there's 2 tanks there. Still 16. 3 tanks. We're still okay. We're a super capital. Not a problem for us. We're going to fast forward through Red's turn. I don't think he does anything this turn because I think he's really broke. All right. And now here we come. We have our super capital. He's very broke. We have nothing to lose except the game, depending on how you look at that. But again, we just want to harass. We know that we can defeat this. Again, see, 13, he's got his gem buffs and his tiles. We're fine. We take his fort. We saved an AP last round. You know what? Now that we cleared all this out, we're going to go ahead and take our economist back as well. And the reason we went here first is because we didn't know how many troops were here that were being supported by the tanks. And look how close that would have been. It would have been a 1 damage difference. And it would have been very close to us dying. So what we did was, the easiest way to take out this fort was to attack the blank tile. There's nobody here. We know there's nobody here. He had 13. He had 2 tanks in there. Easy win. So now, we're just going to assume that because of all the expensive plays he's been making, he doesn't have very many troops here, and we were absolutely right. So we stole 2 buildings. We're still alive. We're getting 2 more gold per turn, and we live to see another day. Now, unfortunately, we come out of this game empty-handed still, because we have purple gems, we have blue gems, but we didn't get any from green. Cryptix was stingy. Darn guy. And you'll see him make a play here where he's going to fly his plane. Never, ever, ever leave an empty building by your capital. Empty building, empty tile. You cannot do this. Cardinal sin in the world of Duper. And blue is gone. So on that turn, a very smart play by green. He took technically 2 tiles, and then by killing blue, lowered the overall tile count to win by 1, which is like it's a 3 tile swing. And before anybody saw the warning that he was approaching tile count, all in 1 turn, game over. So well played by Cryptix there. Also, we lost all of our ETH, but I think it was fairly well played by us. We survived. Red obviously still came out a little bit on top, but I think it was a good example of how things can go if you are forced into this position. You can still contribute to the game. You can still make somebody hurt. Just be careful. Just be very, very careful. And you can make a lot of fun plays with the super capital. And there's a lot of debate. It's a very costly upgrade. You're not making any money or very little money, 2 to 3 gold per turn if you're lucky. But it's almost like you're spending 21 gold a turn on units each time because you have that power constantly. And As long as you have tiles to fall back on and you play it correctly, you absolutely could do a lot of damage. So go out there, have some fun with the Super Capital, try not to die, and we'll see you on the next video.